we're good. So this is your game, and you're black against the 17Q. And so before we talk about cuts, let me ask you about a shape question here, because this is again one of those things that I see. I don't know why I see this shape again and again and again, and I don't know where it's coming from. It seems to be because it's obviously not in my courses. It's not in any books. I know it cannot be in any book. So, but people somehow find it somewhere in their imagination and play it. So let me ask you this. So right now, white pushes here. What is if you're black? What are black's options? I know what you played in the game, and I think you remember what you played. But what do you think are black's options in general? Like, what can you do now as black?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. I've seen videos on this,
Mm-hmm.
and the sort of the two ways of playing uh, as black.
Mm-hmm.
Black could have played at S14, and then
S4.
you get into a Joseki in the corner.
Wait, S14 is now gone, right? White just played S14.
Yeah. But
Okay.
Uh
Uh-huh.
the move before, you could have played
Yeah,
a
but now
Joseki at S14, and
now that you didn't, now that you extended,
now the idea is to get a wall.
okay. Yeah.
So the idea is to play R13,
Okay. That's generally the first candidate, yeah. A and keep building the wall. Okay.
keep building the wall.
Do you think there are any
You
other
could
options?
go, yeah, you could go. Um, I suppose you could go S12,
S12. Okay. Okay. Any more?
um, and then you could defend the cut.
You mean like Q15?
Yeah, or um, yeah, Q15.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's 3. Any more? How about S13?
S13.
A block.
Yeah, that worries me a little bit when there's only two stones.
Yeah. Because you already have one cutting point at C. If you now play S13, you're gonna have another cutting point, like two cutting
Yeah,
points real close to each other. So yeah, that's a dangerous Hane. That's a very dangerous move. So D is a dangerous looking move, and yes, uh, normally you wouldn't want to do it because it looks very risky, and it is risky. And yes, the most obvious move is A, and that's the best. Now let's talk about the two other candidates. First of all, question: where did you get this move B? Because that's the move that I was actually talking about. How is this B? How did it even come into existence?
you and I have talked about it
Uh huh. And I
as a
guess
way of
I think I was talking
more.
about it in the context of like forget it and never do it again. Because
Oh,
that's the move that I see very often. But remember, you just told me that the idea is to keep building the wall. But if you play
yeah.
B, you're actually making a break in the wall. You're not building the wall. You're jumping ahead and you're allowing white to just get into this crack, right? So if you now play here, this is allowing white to, for example, go here, break through the stones. You can cut, but now, for example, white extends, threatens the two stones. Black has to protect. Now white does this, and suddenly the two stones on the right are in danger. So white has gotten into this crack and now splitting black into pieces and attacking both left and right.
Okay. Okay.
So
I
that's what
see it.
happens when we do this kind of instead of building the wall, we jump ahead and allow a weakness. We leave this weakness behind. So this is the shape that you might want to just forget and never do again.
Okay. Okay.
So yes, uh, this is the first thing. Maybe let's look at the same exact situation, but one move after this. So you do this, white pushes again, and again, same question. We can extend, sure, easy. Keep building, keep extending, and just building more and more thickness. White is crawling on a second line. Why not extend? Uh, Again, this one maybe still dangerous a little bit, so maybe not. Maybe if you really want to do something, you could even do this one, which is kind of keeps the wall going. It doesn't really break the continuity of the wall. It leaves the gap, but the gap is not easy for white to use, because if white does this, we can Atari and then fix. So because of this Atari, it's okay. But again, easier, just this and no weakness at all. Easiest thing in the world.
Okay.
It's possible to just not do anything. If you don't want to get, for example, if you really want to play here, you can. You can. This is a nice move. It's attacking the corner. Yes, it's allowing white to play here, but so what? Maybe this is your plan. Your plan is to switch the game flow to the left side. And you're like deliberately allowing white to play this move on the right. Possible. But what you don't want to do is this. And this is what you played in the game. And this is the move that I try to forget.
Okay.
You're leaving you're extending, you're linking your stones and like building the wall. But this stone does not contribute to the wall. It allows a very big weakness. White didn't use this weakness right away, actually, but white should have. If I'm white, I guess I'm just playing this move right away. Because why not? Black just allowed this, so let's use the opportunity. So this is number one. Now let's go to the big questions. The game continues. Here, you're building the wall, everything looks beautiful, and more wall, and the cut. And so here's the first question. What to do? When this happens, what is your first instinct when you see something like this?
Well, yes. Okay. I,
Maybe you don't remember what you played, so think about it again.
yeah. He just played sort of inside my area.
Yeah.
I could go to L13 and
L.
strengthen that stone.
Okay.
It or I could try to attack that stone somehow, but
Yeah. So this is the easy approach to this. What you just said is that it's actually very nice, because whenever this cut happens, you have to look at it this way. You don't need to think about, oh, he cut inside my territory. You're just thinking about it this way. So he just cut you into two parts. It was before, this was like one big wall that you're building. But now, suddenly, after this move, there's A and there's B. These are the two pieces that are now separated by the white stone. And basically, what you need to do is you got to make sure that both A and B are okay. They're healthy and they are not going to die. And so your job is now to figure out which one of these two is the weakest, and try to help it. That's the job. Every time this happens, just find the one that needs your help right now and help it.
yeah, and that would be B because B is just hanging there.
Yeah, so B is just one stone and A is two stones. So you might say, okay, if let's say suppose white cuts here, we just extend here. This is okay. So those two stones are not going to die because they will easily and connect up to that stone. But that one stone on the outside seems like a weaker one. So the B stone is the one you really want to help. And just like you said, this would have been a great response. Very easy. Just extend. This way you're kind of strengthening the stone and also leaving the white stone inside your territory. And Now asking white a question, like how is white going to save that stone? If white cuts here, this is not going to work. So what is white going to do? I don't know. Maybe white will extend and threaten these stones. Then how would you help them? Let's help them.
There's a couple ways, really. You could just go J15.
Yes, but we need a beautiful way. If you do J15, there's going to be this, Atari. Is there a better way?
That's true.
Not an empty triangle, right?
Yeah, that's an empty triangle, sure.
Let me maybe simplify this a little bit. Let's say that this stone is not there,
Okay.
because I think it's affecting your vision. This stone is not there. White just played 2. You need to respond and protect the 2 stones. How do you do it?
The easiest way, is H15.
H15. Okay, yes, H15 is the easiest, but there's a better shape. There's a better shape that is really, really good to know for such situations. It's better than a simple connection. Yes, simple connection, I agree. It's a very, very solid way of doing it. It's super safe. But
Also, H16 gives me a tiger's mouth.
yes, but H16 has a problem because after H16, white can play here. And this is threatening something. Do you see the threat?
Oh,
This is right from that workbook that you've been going through.
yeah, that could be a snapback on if I don't do anything and white plays H15.
Yeah. That's a snapback. So you would have to play H15 now to fix it. And you see, white just got this 4 stone for free.
Yep.
And now white can start doing something. But with this exchange, this 3-4, 3-4-5 exchanges, white got something for free. So you don't want to give white free extra moves, extra stones. That's why this move, even though it's a tiger's mouth, but not the best.
Okay, well then J16.
Yes, and J16 is the best move because it protects the cutting point, because if white now cuts, we can do this, and that's a ladder. So it's protected, but at the same time, this stone it's pushing on the 2 white stones. It's affecting them a lot more. If we just do this one, this is not really doing anything to those stones. It's just pure defense. But when you do this, you're like, and next, you're just threatening to play this one next and cover those stones and attack them. So this is a much more aggressive move. It's defense, but also offense.
Okay.
And that's why it's so beautiful. So
I haven't seen that one.
This is a very nice shape to know. So whenever you have like 2 stones like these to save, this one is solid but a little bit passive. This one is an empty triangle and white gets a free Atari. This one, nice, but white gets this one for free and snapback. But this one is right on the spot, and it like protects and attacks the white stones at the same time. And so when we bring the black stone back, it doesn't really change anything. It's just kind of maybe changing things a little bit, but still, when white extends, we could still do the same shape.
Okay, because that stone was a little too far away to help.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. If it was a little bit higher, yeah, it would have been like in a perfect spot already, and then we wouldn't even have to defend. But now we have to, and there we go. This defense is better than this one, for example.
Okay.
Right? This empty triangle and free Atari. This one, beautiful. And now the 2 white stones find themselves, after we just did this triangle move, helped the weaker stone, and white is now all alone with those 2 stones inside your area, and white has to figure out how to get out of there. Not an easy job for white. Just one simple defense, and white is in a difficult situation. So
Okay.
this is how to think about it in general. This is my general thinking process. Whenever I see this is how I think about it. I'm looking at A and B, and I'm thinking, which one do I need to help now? And by helping, it's usually better not to Atari. Like, Atari is possible sometimes, yes, but typically you want to think of an extension first.
Okay.
Because, for example, if I do this one, Atari, yes, I'm doing something to the stone, but white will extend, and immediately white now has 2 stones, and white is threatening the black 2 stones. We need to help. Now white has some weaknesses, this cutting point, and it's white's turn. I mean, black has weaknesses, and it's white's turn. So white can start now doing something like that, this one, maybe something like that. That's why Atari only makes things worse. Typically, no Atari, extension. So, for example, let's say black has a stone here, white attaches, black does this, and white says, let's fight. The most like stereotypical crosscut situation. Again, how would you react to this?
And I'm black, right?
And you're black, yes.
Okay. Well, based on what you just said, probably S17.
Yeah, something as simple as that. S17. And S17 threatens 2 things at once. It threatens a ladder at A, and it threatens a capture of that stone at B. And white can't fix both. White is maybe going to escape with this stone, but then we capture. And that stone is dead. If white escapes here, we can take this stone, and this stone is dead. And this might not be the most aggressive thing. Maybe AI will show something even cooler and even better. But this is a simple and solid way of dealing with a crosscut. Find the weaker stone and help it with an extension. Typically, that's going to be a very simple and solid way of dealing with the situation.
Okay.
Now, more examples in the same game. So in this example, you actually played the Atari, and then this one. And this is still a slight change of pace, but still a nice way of dealing with it. Because you're keeping the white liberties low, tight. White now has to figure out how to escape. If white starts doing this, white is just burying himself into the ground. It's difficult to escape out of here. So white probably realized that he doesn't really have a good way. So he cuts another cut. And again, same question. And this is the cut that went very wrong in the game.
Yeah.
So think about it now. Now that you know something, think about it. This one's harder, but we can figure it out. Once again, we have A and we have B.
And I was looking at this and I thought I could get a ladder if I went at P15.
Yeah, but is it a ladder?
Well, the problem is I think he escapes because I think there's the F4 stone.
Yeah, probably, right?
I think it's a ladder breaker.
I don't know.
I think I can bid.
Probably yes, right? Oh,
I think
no. Oh, this is a far away ladder. Yeah, it looks like it escapes, right?
Yeah, I think I convinced myself that it was going to be a ladder. So I didn't.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do a ladder because I thought it would escape.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other question was, could I push it down and maybe catch it in a net? So if I went to P15 again,
yeah,
P15, okay. And he has to go to Q14.
Yeah, 1, 2.
Can I now do a net?
Like this one?
Yeah.
But then he will play 4 Atari, and escape through.
And that was the problem. There's an Atari,
Yeah, yeah,
so I can't do that.
yeah. But remember, you're still trying to, instead of trying to help your A and B, you're thinking differently. You're thinking, oh, he cut me. That stone has to be captured. I got to find a way to capture it. So instead of thinking how to help your stones, you're thinking how to capture the opponent's stone. But remember, we didn't do that just 5 minutes ago. When we were thinking about the stones on the left, we were thinking, how do we help the black stones instead of how to deal with the white ones? So think
Okay.
about your stone. If you cannot, I mean, of course, these are the options that you check first. I agree. You check, can you ladder the guy? Can you net? But if the answer is no and no, then unfortunately, we just need to help the black stones.
Well, the weaker group is the one with 2, I think.
Maybe?
And maybe the answer is to go to I'm sorry, O16.
016. Okay. If we do that, let's see. Let's say white does this. What is white gonna do? Let's say white does this one.
Okay. And now I would probably, uh, I'd probably just close the gap at P16.
P16. Okay. But in this case, white probably starts maybe escaping and threatening the three stones.
Yes.
Or maybe white could even do this instead of that and then threaten the three stones this way. And if you now save them, white will push, push, sacrifice those everything, and then get the entire right side. Thanks to that mistake from earlier, this one, white now managed to cut it off, and now white is building a very, very big right side.
Oh, yeah.
So this, it fixes the problem, kind of solves the problem. We successfully dealt with the cutting stones, but at the same time, the right side is looking very good for white. So yes, that's one way. I agree. This is an okay solution. You could also probably think of because this move, I mean, this move is so unpleasant because as soon as white plays it, we cannot cut or do anything because it threatens the three stones.
Yeah.
It threatens these stones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So unfortunately, we would have to now immediately do something like that and net the white stone and help the three stones. And this will give white some time like to play here and then just get the right side with the black stone in it.
Yes.
So actually, it seems that maybe the weaker stones are the B stones because of that weakness. Because of this weakness, the B stones are a little bit weaker, and maybe it makes sense to help them to fix that weakness that you left from earlier. I know you were maybe not looking at this as a weakness because you made it earlier and you were not thinking about it as like, oh, that's a problem. But now you know.
Now I see it.
That's a
Yeah.
bit of a problem. And so the best solution here is, well, you could do, technically, you could do this, and it's exactly the same thing as you just did. You played the jump, and this is the same way, just extending the liberties for black. And if, for example, white protects the corner, we do something like that and fix this weakness. And now we've fixed both A and B. And if white now runs, we need to just, who do we help now?
The 3 at the top.
Yep, let's do that. What's a good way to help? Please don't say the empty triangle. I mean, no, not this one.
Yeah, you're. No, I think 017.
017 is okay, yes. And you can actually even go one further. You can go this one. And 17 is
Okay.
also fine. But yes, some kind of jump, and we're good. Actually, this one's also fine. Because it looks a bit dangerous, but actually, because of if white pushes, we don't block, but we can do one down, and then this one. And we know that this cut doesn't work. It never works. We just take it. So because of that, we can play like this. We can jump, and this push is not scary. So any jump is fine. This jump, this jump, this jump, any jump is okay. Just not the empty triangle. And this would have been a great result. And as a bonus, an even better result is actually similar to what you did on the left in the center. Remember? Instead of the move that I suggest, or like we suggested together, the extension,